Guys, gals, non-binary pals, and waterfowls, it's me, Big Mike, and I'm coming at you today with a short video about my thoughts on and experiences with Sage 23. Now, this isn't going to be too long of a video or too in-depth of a video, as I plan on doing more content that can go deeper on this subject on various games in the coming future. So please be on the lookout for that. But as you probably heard me mention millions of times at this point, Sage is my favorite yearly event. And Sage 21 was my all-time favorite going into this, just because of how amazing all the games it had was. So how does this one stack up? Well, honestly, I fell in love with this year's Sage. While the games were certainly a huge part of it, an equally huge part of it for me was the social aspect. This year was the first year I had joined the Discord server, and that added much more enjoyment to an already amazing event. I met many new friends, both expo enjoyers and developers, not to mention the people behind the scenes who make the show possible. And I got an inside look at both the event and the online community and how they operate. So I'm going to divide this video up by topic, mostly based on the division of the games, like indie games, fan games, etc. And then I'm going to give my overall thoughts about other general stuff at the end. So first I want to talk about the indie games. Now, one of the things that being in the Discord showed me is that there is a particular aspect that I didn't know that happens every year around indie games being at Sage. Apparently there's a sort of controversy, and there's some that believe that indie games do not belong at Sage. And I think that is a load of crap. Now, I haven't been there since the very beginning. I didn't join Sage or start attending Sage until 2016. So I can't say for myself, but it's been told to me by some of the elder members in the community that indie games have been a part of Sage since 2001. And the game, if I'm not mistaken, was called BaconX, the very first indie game to be featured at Sage. So Sage has had indie games since practically the beginning, and so this may piss some people off, but indie games do in fact belong at Sage. I had no idea that was even a controversial take to have, but regardless, this Sage was filled with many pleasant surprises for me in regards to indie games. Now, the first thing I want to talk about was just the number of returning devs I recognized, or rather, I should say, did not recognize. So here, fam, one of the most pleasant surprises for me was the fact that there were several games that I really played that I enjoyed, but I had no idea they were developed by the same developers that made previous Sage games that I absolutely enjoyed. And I'll give two examples of this. Well, first, there's Ducky's Delivery Service, which is an amazing, chill game about a duck delivering mail. It has a nice vibe to it. However, as much as I love that game, as awesome as it is, that same dev was responsible for another game I absolutely love. And that game was Chessplosion at Sage 2021. In that game, not only was it a fun game, but it also introduced me to the game of chess. Prior to that game, I really had no interest in chess. Also, another good example of this was the game Kid Bubblegum. Now, this is a retro-style game. The character is modeled after Kid Chameleon, but the gameplay is really unique. So it's a Sega Master System early Genesis era platformer. Now, you have to use bubbles, and you have a bubble gum gun you have to use to make bubbles to kind of get your way across the stage, to help you jump, to help you clear certain platforms and such. So it has a very unique mechanic. So it's very different from Kid Chameleon, but the aesthetics, or at least the aesthetics of the character, were based on Kid Chameleon. However, as fun as this game was, I was really surprised to find out, mostly due to an in-game cameo appearance, that this same developer who made Kid Bubblegum also made Go Go Pogo Girl, another one of my favorites from Sage 21, and another game done in a similar retro style as Kid Bubblegum. Also, it was with the indie games that I saw lots of innovation, lots of really amazing innovation. So one title that comes to mind here is Funtography. Now, this is a very unique the most unique visual novel I've seen since DDLC, maybe even more unique than DDLC. Now, this is a visual novel that takes place or involves pictures taken from, or mostly taken from, a Game Boy camera. And it's a text-based story that are based around various pictures. Now, what's really cool here is that I've never seen something made like this before. But also, in addition to the main visual novel, it comes with like a fake operating system. Kind of similar to DDLC Plus, if you've ever played that. And another really surprising, innovative indie game I saw there was Possess Quest. Now, Possess Quest, it looks like your standard, Genesis, SNES era platformer. However, it comes with a really cool twist. What makes this game so unique is the fact that if an enemy kills you, and you kind of have to let them kill you in order to progress through the game, you take on their abilities. And you have to use their abilities strategically to get through certain parts of the stage. I had never seen a mechanic like that implemented before in gaming. So just imagine you're playing Mario, and when the first time you get killed by a Goomba, instead of dying, instead of losing a life, you become that Goomba. Also, there were many games there that were very beautiful. Travis's Coward Combustion was one such example of that. It uses a very interesting manga or anime aesthetic in its cutscenes and its character design. Also, the in-game gameplay looks absolutely gorgeous itself, and it's quite a unique side-scroller beat-em-up. Now, Eclipse the Cat is another great example here. Now, this is another Genesis, SNES, or maybe Game Boy Advance era platformer, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. It absolutely looks well made. The characters look well crafted, and the stage art is absolutely beautiful to look at as well. And lastly, there's Beep Bap, the Beep Boop. Now, this is a fun 3D platformer I had the pleasure of trying out, and it was an amazing experience. The characters look very adorable. The world looks so inviting, so warm, so full of life. In fact, even my 6-year-old even enjoyed it. But aesthetically, it was an awesome experience, and it brought to mind many N64, PlayStation, or even GameCube era platformers. And lastly here, while talking about indie games, I just want to mention the goodbyes. Now, there's at least one indie game I know that's going to be leaving Sage as it's ending its development and is ready to be released, and that's Code Bunny. Now, Code Bunny is a phenomenal platformer, and it's actually, what's really unique about it is that it includes 2 characters, but each character has its own unique gameplay, and it adds such a unique dimension to the game. It has a great deal of replay value to it as well, and the art is just phenomenal to look at. Absolutely amazing. But it's been a part of Sage since, I think, 2020, 2021, but now it's getting ready to be released, and so this was its last Sage. So, kind of sad to see it go, but I'm glad to see it's getting a release, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the developer has in store for the future. Now I want to talk about the fan games, and the fan games actually really surprised me in a lot of ways this year. So first and foremost, I want to just talk about Sonic 3 Chronicles. Fam, I've said this time and time again, I've been waiting all of my life for a game like this. Well, not all of my life, but since I was 7 or 8. Anyway, so in this game takes the Sonic 3 competition stages and transforms them into full-fledged one-player stages with their own unique badniks, their own unique bosses. Very, very fun game to play. Very imaginative, very well made, very beautiful too, I would say. The backgrounds, the music, but oh my god, it's such a great experience. And for this demo, it was free zones. The first free competition zones were available to play, and you could play as Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Mighty. Since I was a child, I've always thought those stages had so much potential in them. So much potential for full-fledged single-player stages that just got wasted as competition stages. And also, I've been wanting to play through Sonic 3 and Knuckles as the Childix as well. So this was a very welcome experience. And the second point I just want to bring up here for the fan games is, fam, there was a Beavis and Butthead fan game this year. I've never in a million years imagined that I would play a Beavis and Butthead fan game at a Sage. But Beavis and Butthead and the Quest to Score is a fan game with a pretty cool dev, by the way. I'm not going to go into too much details about the game here. It's still early in its development, but I do plan on doing a full video on what's available, plus some extra stuff the dev has given me in my next Sage related video. So please be on the lookout for that. Now, some other awesome fan games to mention here was Sonic Free Triple Trouble was back again with improvements. Now, that was already an amazing game to begin with, but the improvements that was added, or the bonus stuff that was added a nice touch to it. And there are a lot of other amazing fan games as well I plan to mention once I get into the general topic. Now, the mod section this year was really slim, and I'm not sure what's the reason behind that, though to be fair, the mod section usually isn't a very beefy section when it comes to Sage. Mods and hacks aren't as popular as fan games at Sage. However, they tend to be center stage at Sonic hacking contests. So, it's not something I hold against Sage, not something I find as a fault at this year's Sage. But I will say that the one mod I was able to play, and I wasn't able to play all of them, but the one that was a mod of a Genesis game, Gato Ship Chapter 0, I think that was a fantastic mod with really interesting visuals and an interesting story to tell. And lastly, I just want to give my thoughts overall, or my thoughts on general topics regarding Sage 23. Now, first I want to say the servers were very much improved, or at least it appeared that way to me. Now, traditionally speaking, in years past, the first couple of hours, or the first day of Sage, tends to be very chaotic with the site crashing because the servers are overloaded. So accessing the site, downloading games can be hectic. This year, however, I had absolutely no trouble doing such. So I have to give kudos to where kudos is due. Very good job improving the servers. Also, I just have to ask, was this year Sage's year of the handhelds? Because I noticed there were quite a lot of fan games and quite a lot of indie games that were done in both a Game Boy and a Game Gear style. And some of these examples include Sonic Triple Trouble, Sonic 1, Sonic 2, and Sonic 3 for the Game Gear remakes, Tales of Adventures. For the Game Boy, there was Cosmologica, there was Meanderland, and there was the awesome F-Zero Pocket. Fam, I gotta be honest with you, that F-Zero Pocket was one of my favorite fan games, and was my favorite F-Zero games that I've ever played. That was a very, very smooth for me. It was a very smooth, much smoother than you would expect a game like that to play on a Game Boy. Also, there was Adventure in a Cursed Land, and there was Funtography as well. Now, I don't know if this is just a coincidence or if it's a trend, because while I did attend Sage 21, for all practical purposes, I missed Sage 22. But regardless, I'm glad to see these handhelds are getting so much love. And the last thing I want to mention is Rummy stepping down. Now, Rummy has been in charge of running Sage since I think 2019, 2020, somewhere in there. Please forgive me if I got the exact date wrong. Rummy, you and your team did a phenomenal job, not just with this Sage, but in the most recent Sages as well. And not throwing shade at the earlier Sages at all. But these particular Sages have been the most memorable to me. So kudos, you're going to be missed. And I look forward to whatever future endeavors you choose to share with the community. Thank you so much. And thank you for also being a very warm host. You reached out to me on Twitter, thanking me for my support of Sage. And that really meant a whole lot to me, fam. And thank you for making this Sage, and thank you to your team for making this Sage such a wonderful event. And I look forward to seeing what Sage 24 is going to hold. I know it's going to be better and better and better always. So with that, I think we'll call it here, fam. This has been a very interesting experience for me. I can't believe it's already over, man. Sage Week always goes by so fast, but this year, it really flew by. Well, they say time flies when you're having fun, right? So, until the next video, I think I will call it here, fam. Special thanks to Fran, who does a wonderful job of doing my art. She's back on Twitter, so please give her a follow. A special thanks to all my friends on Twitter. I wouldn't be here without you all. And most importantly, a special thank you to all of you for watching. Please like this video if you liked it. Dislike it if you dislike it. Feel free to comment below and let me know what you think. And if you like my content, please subscribe and turn your notifications on. Until next time, fam, remember, just be yourself and you'll be awesome. Peace out!